And I included a section in here to talk about the literalness of this. And the reason I'm doing that is because I know many of you like to study on your own, and I encourage that. I think it's great. So when you're studying it on your own, and if you get a bunch of commentaries, like if you get Logos like I have, I think I have at least 40 commentaries on the book of Revelation. And there's no way I can read all of them for every lesson, but then I find they fall into categories. There's a few that take the book of Revelation with what I call the literal interpretation, which would be my school of thought. And then there are a whole bunch which take it in what they call the allegorical method of interpretation. So they don't take it literal. They really don't take anything in a strict literal type sense. And when we say strict literal, we mean that a type or a figure is interpreted as a type or a figure. That's part of correct literal interpretation. But they spiritualize the whole thing. And it amazes me how many of these guys have written commentaries, and that's what they do. So I wanted to include a little section in here to try and counter that, to encourage you that these things are future, they're literal, they're going to happen as described. This is not talking about symbolic stuff that in general has been fulfilled in a general way in the church age. But that's kind of how they view it. And I'll explain that just a little bit more as we look at it. So these are 7 literal angels, which John saw in a literal heaven, and they're handed literal trumpets that they will blow and will make a sound. Now, it doesn't say that the trumpets will be heard on earth. They might be. I don't know as we know whether or not they'll be heard on earth, but they will certainly be heard in heaven, and more importantly, they will result in horrific changes on earth. Just like every time a seal was broken, something horrific happened on earth. And while you're on earth and can't see up into heaven, and you would have no way of knowing what happened up in heaven except the book of Revelation tells you. And so the book of Revelation tells you the scene in heaven, the Lamb pops a seal, and how do we know he did it? Because this is what happens on earth. And so the correlation between the two is unmistakable, and it's the same thing here. Now, John doesn't have 2 whole chapters of a scene in heaven. He had just those first 5 verses.